And here we have the Northern Ireland starting 7. Dan Ryan has opted for the same 7 that he's been going with. Nolene Armstrong in at goal shooter, McGee goal attack. Wing attack, Michelle Drain. The machine, Caroline O'Hanlon, who's captained the side fantastically. Cooper wing defence, Tona goal defence, and Lola in at goalkeeper. For Malawi, they've given Simtoe the nod, who's been fantastic with her shooting stats in at goal shooter. Goal attack, Chimalero. Wing attack, Kamwenda. Galetta in at centre. Captain, who sees her 100th cap in at wing defence, Kachalika. And Vinkumbu at goal defence, with Lorene Nguira at goalkeeper.
Please welcome your match officials, your on-court umpires, Lisa Douglas.
Action coming from Court 2 here on day 4 of the Netball World Cup. Northern Ireland versus Malawi. Malawi have been ranked as high as 5 in the world. You can rest assured they want to get back up there. But Northern Ireland, gee, they've been in a rich vein of form of late. Now in the hands of Dan Ryan, we are set on Court 2. Malawi underway, and awkwardly. Contact though called against Emma McGee. Just looked uncomfortable for Vinkumbu. Being allowed to play out at goal defence today, Vinkumbu, more often than not seen at goalkeeper. Cindy Simtoe. They call her the sniper, one of the shorter shooters going round, 1.7 metres.
And I can see why the last two games she shot 100%. Doesn't normally get the start, but today has been, and her accuracy will be one of the reasons why. Oh, Tona in with an interception nice and early to win the ball for Northern Ireland, who was so disappointed after their win. After their loss against Zimbabwe yesterday. That really hurt them. So they'll be coming out today to try and right some wrongs. Armstrong with the miss. She gets a second bite of the cherry.
No goal. Now the goal doesn't count. So, no goal.
Oh, what a take by Neve Cooper. Great timing on that interception. Sees it early. Takes the plunge, goes for the intercept, comes up with the goods. She gets the start today also. Michelle Drain opting to go back to the line as shooters couldn't quite work out some space. Vinkumbu with the rebound through to Nguira.
Advantage obstruction, wing attack.
One thing we know about Malawi, Camilla, they are patient. They will take as many passes as required, and then a few more.
They will, and these two teams met just 2 weeks ago in the build-up to this World Cup, and speaking to Michelle Drain, the Northern Ireland wing attack, said that they were a patient side. They know how to keep possession of the ball, which is really frustrating, which will be frustrating for Northern Ireland's defence. And if they can get their connections in the back, they'll be able to win. But Chimalero with the goal there, who's been so key for this Malawi side in that goal attack position. So accurate.
And this is a great start for Malawi. 3-0 they lead. Of course, last time these two countries met at a pinnacle event, that was last year's Commonwealth Games.
Contact,
and on that occasion, it was a win too for Malawi, 60-52.
Contact.
And they were playing off for 7th place. So they're one of those countries, aren't they, that they rise to the big occasion, Malawi.
Absolutely, and they've got those big names when they need to. Just a wayward pass there from Vinkumbu. But they've got players that are really stepping up in those crucial moments. Just like this lady that kept that ball in there for Northern Ireland, Caroline O'Hanlon, who's been an absolute superstar of this championship so far. We were just talking before this game, weren't we, Jenny, that she's a player that could actually play in any world team. She's absolutely world class. one of the best centres in the game.
Advantage contact, wing defence and offside.
Well, just a sporting character, really, isn't she, too? And there's a second goal for Northern Ireland. The arena coming to a standstill yesterday in that game you mentioned, Camilla, against Zimbabwe. It was a thriller.
Contact, keeper, shoulder. Inside, castle shot. Yes. Advantage offside, wing defence.
Emma McGee just rolling the front of the circle there, which she does so well for this team, slots it away. She's also taken some of the shooting volume, shooting stats. Not the best for Northern Ireland yesterday against that clash against Zimbabwe. They'll be looking to fix that early. The long ball into Kamwenda, unable to keep it in.
So awkward for Malawi.
Contact, wing attack. Backwards.
Chance here for Northern Ireland. Can they take the lead? Early stages, first quarter.
Good rotation there. The work rate of Emma McGee. Oh, unable to keep that in from Caroline O'Hanlon there. Northern Ireland
Advantage obstruction, goal attack.
have a good unit defence.
Centre, contact.
So the two captains there, Kachalika and O'Hanlon. 100 tests, as you mentioned. Oh,
there
brilliant.
she is again. Neve Cooper winning the ball nice and early, clean as you like. And Nolene with the, Nolene Armstrong with the rebound, takes it home. There she goes, takes off from about 4 or 5 metres and wins that ball fantastically.
Advantage obstruction, centre. Throw in.
Yeah, and we're able to disrupt that feed
Advantage
from
contact,
Drain.
goal attack.
So chance here
Centre contact, advantage
for
offside.
Malawi. This is the sort of close game we'd expect from these two.
Advantage offside, goal attack. Advantage
Yeah,
obstruction,
and
goal
O'Hanlon
shooter.
just getting itchy feet there,
Wing
wanting to
attack
win as much
contact.
ball as she can. Long bomb in to Simtoe. Back to Kichalika.
Contact, wing defence, wing defence.
Speaking of 100 tests, Kachalika, but also too that man at the top right of your screen, Gary Burgess. No mean feat to umpire 100 tests. And you think that it's volunteer labour as well. Well done.
And a fantastic umpire he is. He's done wonders for English netball and their umpiring system, and a real credit to the sport. Champions the players as well as the umpires, great support. A real credit to the game, Gary Burgess. Opting to go lateral, playing possession. Malawi putting on a nice zone defence here. Northern Ireland unable to penetrate through the gap there.
So really both teams, oh, well done, Tona. Tona, one of 2 Northern Irish players who's played every minute of every game so far. She and Lawler at the back.
Goal defence obstruction. Inside the circle.
So halfway through this first quarter, all locked up.
Centre contact.
Oh, that's a good contest from Vinkumbu. Armstrong with the strength to take that hit. If you just have a look at this, great strength. Vinkumbu unable to come over the top.
7 minutes remaining in the first quarter. 5-4, Northern Ireland, noses in front. The thing that impressed me about Nolene Armstrong, I mean, she wasn't in the team, was she? She'd retired, and yet look at the form that she's in. Brought in at the last minute for Lisa Bonin. She looks as fit as a fiddle.
Absolutely, and that's when you can tell someone's experience. I know firsthand from taking some time out of netball, and you know, the older player you get, you tend to be able to use your brain a little bit more if the body doesn't want to. But she's in fantastic shape, and you can tell she's got that experienced head on her shoulders. that the Northern Ireland team has needed after that loss to Bowman.
So 6-4. Northern Ireland leading Malawi.
3-second call, Northern Ireland's defensive line. You can see they set up a diamond-shaped defence, which doesn't allow Malawi to penetrate through. The transition that we've seen from Northern Ireland through the court, we're not seeing today. Malawi doing a good job of slowing them up. They've done their homework on trying to stop the quick play through court. And I just get a sense that this is sloppy from both teams. We're 10 minutes in, it's 6-4, not an awful lot of goals. Which team is going to be the first to get a control of their play?
Well, Malawi's been the first team to make a few changes. Tandy Galetta moving from centre to wing attack. So Kumwenda goes to the bench, and Wazi, real firecracker. Watch her against O'Hanlon. She's come on at centre.
Armstrong with the shuffle shot and the goal. Taking it to 8-4.
So nice push here from Northern Ireland.
Just have a look at this formation that Northern Ireland have. You can see they're on the inside of their players. They're pushing them out so they only receive ball on the sidelines or going back. They're not allowing them to take anything through the middle. A penalty called, which just breaks the defensive formation. So now it's back to a man-on-man. The shuffle shot again from Chilero that's been so successful for her.
She's quick to get on with things.
Hold time. When you attack, that's an intentional contact. That's a caution. Centre third.
So a caution there for Tandy Galetta. Intentional infringing.
Advantage offside wing. Contact wing defence.
So how
Wing
it works,
defence.
you have a
step
caution.
out.
Following that, if you don't improve your play, you can get a warning. And if you still misbehave, you can find yourself on the sideline for a
Advantage
couple of
obstruction wing
minutes.
defence.
Causing contact centre.
Loazi
Get your play right, you'll be off.
energetic take there. Joyce Mavula slotting that away. Great hands there from Loazi, as you mentioned. A firecracker in this team, both in attack and defence.
You can hear Mvula just talking to her players. Coach Griffin Sayenda perhaps has decided he better bring his big guns out.
Yeah, and she's hungry for that ball. You can see the eyes, you can see the hand asking for that ball. She wants possession. She wants to get her team back in this. And they take it back to 8-7.
Well, she's key, really, isn't she, to the fortunes of Malawi. No Mwai Kumwenda here at this event, still recovering from an ACL rupture. And Mvula himself under a bit of an injury cloud. Here come Malawi again.
So well, we were talking before the game about the combination of Nguera and Vinkumbu. And working really nicely. Tona just, unable to keep herself on side, but great athleticism.
That was very nearly brilliant.
It was very nearly brilliant.
She's an experienced player, isn't she, Tona? Pretty good basketballer. Even better netballer.
Had a fantastic Commonwealth Games last year. Thought that she might get picked up by a Suncorp team, but has a very demanding job back home in Northern Ireland. And opted to play for the London Pulse in the Vitality Super League in the UK.
So Malawi tied up, 2.5 minutes remaining in this first quarter. 8 apiece.
Here we see again Northern Ireland trying to force it out to the sidelines. Mavula gets that central position.
Goal defence obstruction.
Interesting looking at Mvula. As you would know, Camilla, she injured herself in that terrific final. of the Super League here, went off in the sort of last few minutes and has been managed ever since. And you can see the strapping there on that left knee. I'm just not convinced she's moving as freely as she'd like to be.
Yeah, and then we saw in that first game that she was only limited to a quarter. She wasn't happy about getting taken off the court. She wants to be involved in every minute. You can see, as you said, that she's not quite moving as comfortably, but her strength, the way that she's using her hold and is adapting her game, it's so hard. I mean, she's got the great angle, and the timing that she takes off to receive the ball makes it so hard for any goalkeeper to get round. And Lawler's got her work cut out for her now as Malawi go 2 ahead.
So 10-8 Malawi, just over a minute. It's been a bit of a seesaw this first quarter. Northern Ireland got out to a bit of a lead, but a few changes from Malawi, and they are now in front by 2.
Contact, you've got it over the back of the hand. At least do it when I'm on the side.
There she goes, Joyce Mavula, 5 from 5. As she makes a real impact on this Malawi team. Just goes to show, doesn't it, when you've got key players in the setup and how you build a team around them.
Well, that's right, and that was one of the quandaries really for Malawi when Mwenda is in the team along with Mvula. They play the same position, and it's sometimes difficult to get the best out of both players.
Well, that's it, and you know, in those situations, do you opt for one of them to sit out in that goal attack position, which may not be their forte, but you know, to have the choice of Mvula and Mwenda, I mean, what a position to be in as a coach. Not too bad.
Oh, smart from O'Hanlon, doesn't get the ball away, so Northern Ireland will have the next centre pass. And this is pretty much what we expected from these two sides. It is close in this first quarter. It is Malawi at the moment leading Northern Ireland 12-9. Underway in the second quarter, 12-9. Malawi leading Northern Ireland. Joyce Mvula coming on to the court for Malawi in that second quarter. 50th test for her. So a number of milestones out on court here today in Liverpool.
Contact goalkeeper. Backwards one,
A few
please.
more changes too for Malawi. Kumbo moving back from goal defence to goal keep. And Caroline Intercooley, former skipper, coming on at goal defence.
Early interruption there from Neve Cooper. Silky hands from O'Hanlon to drain.
Obstruction goalkeeper at the
A
top.
little underhand scoop.
Causing contact defence.
Not happy with that call on Takule.
Yeah, she doesn't usually leave you guessing as to what she might be thinking. Wonderful personality, Caroline Intercooley. 90 tests for her today.
Such an experienced unit, and the combination of her and Vinkumbe, which we thought may get the start in this game, but
Contact wing defence.
And I would think they would be in their starting lineup.
There she is.
Tremendous combination, been playing together for a long time. Oh, that looked awkward.
oh, she
For
did
Armstrong,
well
she did do well.
to get rid of that before the post.
shooter
If
on
she'd
the side.
hit the post before she landed, she wouldn't have been able to keep possession, but was able to get it away and compose herself to slot that away to take her from 9 from 12. Oh, there she is. Fanula Tono with the early win. Great vision.
Manage obstruction.
And you can see for yourself the changes in the Malawi lineup. Grace Mwafalewa coming on at goal defence for Kachalika.
That's it.
Another experienced player, Mwafalewa.
Causing contact, wing attack, centre third. Manage contact, centre. And obstruction,
Northern
centre.
Ireland started this quarter well. They've drawn level. And that's even better from Armstrong. So 4-0 in the second quarter. They've come out of the blocks with a hiss and a roar.
Yeah, you can see the difference between getting the ball to circulate a little bit more, looking a little bit more confident on the feed. Oh, the offensive contact.
And that was good work by Vinkumbu. Nice positioning.
Great positioning, just getting her hip through, which is the little tricks that you want to talk to about when you're trying to win ball.
Very talented athlete, Tawira Vinkumbu. Also plays for the national football team, the She Flames.
We've seen that so much throughout this competition, players that, because for so many it's not a professional sport yet, they've got time and energy to take part in other sports, and that's great to see across the board.
Well, and also have jobs.
Well, that too, and children and all sorts, and
all those small things.
Yeah.
So Malawi on the board in the second quarter. 13 all.
Advantage obstruction, wing attack.
This game important for both these sides because obviously it's all about getting as high up the ladder as you can. Realistically, neither of these two teams looking at the top four, but they are very much looking at the next numbers after that.
Absolutely, and both of them will want to climb the rankings.
Wing defense obstruction.
I think I mentioned earlier, Malawi, top ranking in the past, 5th. And Northern Ireland, well, they were 7th, as I remember rightly, in Singapore in 2011, terrific World Cup. And of course, they missed out on qualifying for Sydney 4 years ago. So great to see them here.
They did, and they've gone from strength to strength, and with Dan Ryan in the setup now, we'll be looking to build over the next few years.
Well, I guess we should give a bit of a shout out to Elaine Rice too, who got them through qualifying, got them to this event, and then stepped down. Malawi building. Lwazi.
Nice early ball.
Lucky with that one.
Sorry. Yeah, Mavula just unable to get hold of that straight away, but picked up the loose ball. And Lwazi just so tight on that defence. Oh, and then, unlucky with the early win from Vinkumbu there, but you see that she takes off from underneath the post.
There's nothing wrong with what she did. There was an infringement on the pass. Oh, and that's lovely skills. Grace Mokulewa.
O'Hanlon just disrupting the transition there. She gets back down the court so well. I've talked about it throughout this whole championship, but the speed at which she can get from one end to the other, O'Hanlon, on attack and defence, is why she's one of the best in the world.
So 16-14 early in the second quarter. Malawi in front at the moment. But they won't continue that way with passing like that.
Galetta looked left, she looked right. She didn't like what she saw, so she went for the early ball in, but never looked confident with the placement of it. And Mavula would have to have some go-go gadget arms to be able to pull that one in.
Advantage contact, goal shooter.
Northern Ireland building again. And this was their problem yesterday against Zimbabwe, wasn't it? They had trouble, particularly in the latter stages of that game, getting the ball into these shooters.
Yeah, and you can see O'Hanlon handles a lot of the ball through the court. She tries to direct, but there's only so much you can do in that centre position, and it was just the connections between Armstrong and McGee. But still a lot of possession. They still have the opportunities.
It's a costly miss from Armstrong right under the post.
Neither team looking comfortable, going directly forwards. Defensively, both teams, oh, great strength there.
Contact, goal defence. Yep.
So both teams doing a good job of stopping the penetration through the court, the quick transition through the court. And that's where the intersections are won.
Stay on side.
17-14, Malawi over Northern Ireland.
Manage contact, win defence.
Yeah, nicely placed by Drain.
I think that's something that they could do a lot earlier. They could look into Armstrong. They don't look comfortable on it, but she's holding good space. She's holding high enough in the circle for that ball to go in first time, but obviously there's a lot riding on this game, so players don't want to take that risk, but I'd really like to see them be a bit more gutsy with putting that early ball into Armstrong. Mavula forced to exit the circle because they can't get through that Northern Irish defence and pulls that in. Does the step. And I think to spectators around the world, that does look like a step, but Joyce Mavula has such great ability to get closer to the post with each of those steps.
Now Hanlon waits.
Manage obstruction.
There's Emma McGee, goes for a slide, leaves the shooting to Armstrong, sitting on the bottom.
And that's better from Armstrong.
Just as well that a rebounder wasn't needed. Malawi at the moment able to maintain this 3-goal margin. Just over 6 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
Whole time. Win defence, that's persistent infringing. You're obstructing and you're contacting and you're offside. It's a caution.
Oh dear.
A list of problems there for Grace Mwafulua. So a caution. Oh, and that's great balance from Ruazi. So Northern Ireland not able to capitalise on those problems for Malawi. And away come the Queens again. Ah, Tona looks to the heavens.
Whole time.
And that's a setup
Yes, we were.
that they're trying to create. You can just sense that
With the goal defence.
ball is there to be
With the
won for
goal
Northern
defence.
Ireland. They just need to be patient and pick which ones they go for. But it's forcing Joyce Mavula to just exit the circle a little more than they probably hoped to.
Towe lucky to pick up
Obstruction, goal defence.
the remains of those rebound attempts and slots another one.
There we see Joyce Mavula exit the circle again. The long corner pocket ball, unable to keep that in. Lawazi. Disappointing. I just think those kind of long balls didn't need to go at that particular time.
Manage obstruction, win defence.
Oh, great read there from Vinkumbu. Comes through the middle of the court at the top of the circle, which is so hard for defenders to come out because it's such a difficult angle to intercept without taking out a player, but she did that so well. Ali just having to play the ball round, unable to gain much ground, but keeping possession, using the outskirts. Mavula again with the ball. Tilawazi. That's when they're effective on good work, smart work from Tona, just tucking in behind. As that ball's lifted, Mavula forced into a forward position and unable to keep hold of that.
Goal defence, you're holding her arm.
Nice bit of timing
Contact where you
onto
are.
the top of the circle from O'Hanlon.
If we had a heat map on this court for O'Hanlon, that
Contact,
hot spot
goalkeeper.
at the top there would be on fire because she is able to find the top and through the middle so easily and so often, which is a prime position to be able to feed her shooters.
Offside.
Falera without a bib on
Go inside line,
at the
Northern
moment, but
Ireland.
she is in that wing defence position. Just a lack of movement from
Offside,
Northern Ireland
sorry.
there. Just want to see them not get too static. Malawi doing a good man-on-man job, having to go back. Caroline O'Hanlon handles the ball again. Michelle Drain with a beautiful ball into the backspace there. Great ball into Cooper who finishes that off. Michelle Drain's been key for this attacking lineup. With her assists into goal, she's pinpoint with her passes. If she's not happy, she'll go across the circle, as we've just seen there. Drain to O'Hanlon.
Centre, that's intentional obstruction. It's a caution.
So
Outside.
caution this time for
On the whistle,
Wazi.
please, it's outside.
So 3 cautions
Okay.
dished out to the Malawi players so far.
Really important to take on what the umpire says and adjust what you say,
Where she is, please.
or he.
Vantage centre obstruction.
Emma McGee adds one more for Northern Ireland, but they haven't been able to get any closer in this second quarter.
Vantage obstruction, wing attack.
No, and again, and if we look at the opportunities, and Malawi sitting on.
Well, now here's a chance. Chimalero, can't believe it.
Vantage contact, wing attack.
Oh, and wins it back.
Centre contact.
Oh, that's very classy from Malawi.
Hold time. Centre, you're out of play.
Another one of these really experienced players, Jane Chimalero. 46th test for the goal attack today.
Goal defence contact.
And they've got this ability, Malawi, just when it looked as though Northern Ireland might have a chance to just close that gap a little bit more. Here they are at the other end.
I just sense that when Northern Ireland let the ball go early,
Outside, centre, free
Dan
pass.
Ryan talks about the fact that he wants the ball to do the work for his team.
That's it.
When they have the confidence and they let the ball go, it's so much more effective for them. Playing it around,
Vantage
using the
goalkeeper
triangles.
obstruction.
Yeah, nice. Oh, unable to control it, but there was a contact. So Intakuli actually puts her hand up.
Beside her, shoot it. That's it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a knock.
Obstruction goalkeeper. Make the effort, goalkeeper, please.
And she may have been putting her hand up, saying, actually, that's my ball.
Yeah, I think it was probably more that.
Vantage obstruction, wing attack.
And look at this defence from Northern Ireland. They're in great positions. You just... Oh, that was great work there from Galetta, just pulling wide to open up Mavula. You can see Lawler gets interested in that interception there to the pocket and opens up Joyce Mavula underneath the post. That's something you must be careful with. So although the zone defences can be really effective to create interceptions, it can also get you interested and leave a gap totally open somewhere else. So it's about being gutsy, it's about choosing the right option, and sometimes you will have egg on your face.
Contact. Goal defence here. Backwards. Goal defence.
Intakule not happy with that call.
Okay. Time. Obstruction goalkeeper.
Nolene Armstrong has what surely must be the final act of this first half, and she does. And as expected, very little between these two sides. Nolene Armstrong having a bit of a chat as she leaves the court. 22-20. Malawi leading Northern Ireland. 2 pretty even quarters, though. Malawi got the first quarter 12-9. Northern Ireland have taken that second one almost against the run of play. 11-10. So, good game on our hands here. Malawi 22-20 over Northern Ireland. What can they do here in the second half against Malawi? Third quarter underway. Taekwondo Luazi, almost spoiled. Good effort by Northern Ireland.
And an early interruption there from Northern Ireland, who've come out after some harsh words from Dan Ryan. Tona hungry to win the ball early. From Luazi across to Mavula,
Vanny's defending out of court, keeper. Vanny's goal.
who slots away the first goal of the quarter.
Vanny's break.
So there don't appear to be any changes to Malawi, just the one for Northern Ireland. Neve Woods coming on at wing attack. Michelle Drain having a rest.
Signage contact centre.
Yeah, that's interesting because we talked about what change Northern Ireland could possibly make to help their shooting percentage, and they've opted for a feed-in change, a through-court change with Neve Woods. We'll soon to see if that bodes well for Northern Ireland.
Woods, another one who spends a bit of spare time playing Gaelic football, a sport to people in other parts of the world so unusual.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is a very unusual sport, and especially if you're from England. But
yes,
yeah, it's very, very common in the Irish community.
Well, every country has something, doesn't it?
Contact, goal attack.
Oh, the offensive contact
Goal attack,
again.
goal play.
Something we're seeing so much more in these championships.
And you can see Vinkumbu winding up with the big one-handed pass.
You can see Tona just getting itchy feet on those cross-court balls. You can feel that she might win one soon. She's in the position to. You can see they're trying to force those long pocket balls.
She didn't touch you, though.
Chimilero doing a nice job here at goal attack for Malawi. 9 from 10.
The conversation just going on between umpire Gary Burgess and Fanula Tona. One of the things that I think should really be encouraged in the game, you know, conversations between umpires and players, as long as it's respectful. I think that is only going to help both parties. Ordinarily, you can talk to the umpire at a quarter time to question things, but Gary Burgess very good in his interaction with players. Helped me throughout my career. But as I said, it just keeps the game flowing. Chimilero finding the space under the post.
She's spot on today, Jane Chimilero. Just the one miss.
Hold time, please. Contact, got wing attack, backwards. That's it. Where the goal defence is.
Woods looking down, in the end having to go across.
Emma McGee forced to come high. She's also played a lot of minutes in this World Cup so far. Roll in the front as she does so nicely, as we've just seen. Nice accuracy.
Wing attack.
So the 2-goal margin remains 25-23 early in the third quarter. Into Cooley at the back, goes even further back.
This is great work from Northern Ireland's defence, but great patience from the Malawi side. You can see Northern Ireland not letting them punch through the middle of that court. You can sense that that's fantastic work, but Malawi, we know that they can play the possession game. They're happy to play it round. And there's that long ball that Neve Cooper really wanted to get the take on. But something that the African nations are so good at, the long ball that we're often discouraged to pass, but the African nations do it so well, and there's no reason why it can't work.
Just look at the distance on the floor first, please.
Neve Cooper just unable to get there in time, but great accuracy to Tandy Galetta.
Talking about playing the possession game, great example of it yesterday when Sri Lanka were playing Australia. Australia going after their 100th goal, and Sri Lanka simply held on to the ball. They were well beaten, but they did not want to let Australia, the Diamonds, get 100 goals. They went up and down. Well, they didn't go down the court at all. They really only stayed up.
Oh, what a roll from Joyce Mavula. Sucking Lawler to the edge of the circle and then using the backspace. Totally sold on that. What a fantastic ball there from Mtakule. Beautiful long bomb.
And I wonder how many of those she's put in. Here's a change from Malawi again.
It's a great battle going out between Luwazi and O'Hanlon. Causing contact. Massive call there.
Bridget Kumwenda now on at wing attack for Malawi.
Oh, Luwazi,
Luwazi.
great strength to keep that in.
And how often do we see her do that sort of thing? Into Cooley, directing traffic from the transverse line.
Contact goalkeeper. Backwards, shoot it with her. That's it.
And it just feels as though Malawi have gone up a gear here. They push out to a 5-goal margin, 28-23.
Oh, great steal there from Vinkumbu. Winning the ball early again, coming high right up to the transverse line. And Malawi with the transition.
You're hooking her up.
So happy to just play the possession game.
For my money, this is starting to look like Malawi's top 7. All these players have a number of tests under the belt.
Absolutely, and we talk about top 7 and who your starting 7 is, but what's so difficult over this championship is when you're placed where these guys are in the rankings, every game is important, so do you rinse those 7 players? But can they last for a whole championship? We talked about potentially seeing some tired legs at this stage on day 4, where we have players like Toner and Lawler who've played every minute of every game.
With the goal defence, outside the circle.
Yes, that's the key, isn't it? Working out as to which game matters more than another, and some of them do. You pick your wins and you pick your losses to a degree.
And so much easier when you're sitting either at the top of the table or at the bottom, but I think those mid-table ones, it makes it so much harder because you could compete with the top teams, but you could have your scalp taken from a lower team, so the strong 7 probably used a little bit more.
The crowd starting to find their voice.
And you
Malawi supporters.
Sorry, you just saw on your screen there, Joyce Mavula, who's sitting on 19 from 19 at 100%. What a steal from Vinkumbu there. And this is the difference. She's able to have those amount of opportunities and takes it with ease because her team are winning ball like that and then bringing the ball so beautifully through the court with such confidence and control. Happy to play the possession, and then the ball underneath the post. Well seen from Luwazi there. So difficult. Oh, great work from Luwazi there. And again, we talk about Northern Ireland getting interested in those flies, and Malawi just keeping the possession, keeping control, and the patience for stuff to open up.
But this is why, isn't it? African netball is so exciting. The likes of Malawi, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and South Africa itself. They bring their own flair, their own flavour. And now the changes from Northern Ireland. Michelle Drain back on at wing attack. And a bit of a shuffle here.
So they did this yesterday. They brought Michelle McGee into goal defence and Toner across to wing defence. Now, with Toner in at wing defence, in my opinion, she is somebody that can get those match-winning interceptions with the zone-type defence, but she's much more effective in that wing defence position. Goal defence, not so much, because she has that circle to think about, but you give her 2/3 without the circle to worry about, and I would imagine we'll see Toner with some ball if Northern Ireland are able to carry on that defence, but...
Well, Dan Ryan, he had to do something, didn't he? Because the quarter score for this third quarter, 11-5. And Malawi were just starting to run rampant, and they are really players. When they get on a high, they are very hard to stop.
Yeah, and the patience. I mean, you know, you talk about... Oh, that's unlucky, not being contacted there, Luwazi losing possession of it.
And that's an interesting call from the umpire. You can't play the ball when you are on the ground.
Yep, absolutely. You've got to get back onto your feet.
So 5 minutes remaining in this third quarter. And this game has taken off a little, 33-26.
Oh, great skills there from Michelle Drain, just looking to pocket on O'Hanlon, and McGee pops underneath the post. Great work there. She has a little look at O'Hanlon, to Armstrong, straight through the middle. Fantastic skills there from Michelle Drain.
And they forced the error from Malawi, that ball from Intakuli.
Now just 6 the difference between these two. This possession is really important for Northern Ireland to keep that possession.
Goal third. Goal third. Vantage contact, centre, vantage offside.
Oh, that was
Contact.
close to
Vantage offside.
3 seconds, but the contact given.
Shotchen.
That's better from Armstrong. We're seeing a little bit more confidence in her. You can see her fired up by that last pass. Oh,
Contact.
Michelle Drain just hits the deck there. A contest between her and Lawazi.
And Camilla, these changes have worked for Northern Ireland, haven't they? Since Dan Ryan made them, they have scored 4 in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see, like I said, from Armstrong, she's fired up. You see Michelle Drain, such a key feeder in this Northern Ireland lineup. She was able to just find the space a little bit better. She's got that experienced head on her shoulders. Back within 5 goals. McGee on the miss. Malawi with the possession game.
No one in the shooting circle now. They're there for Malawi. Joyce and Vula just. Beautiful skill. Well, that breaks the run of goals for Northern Ireland.
Look at that from Lawazi. Pinpoint precision on that pass there. Great vision to see the gap open up.
Vantage obstruction, wing attack.
Obstruction, goal attack. Vantage contact, wing defense.
So this is how the Northern Ireland lineup looks now. You can see there, Tona moved across to wing defence. Michelle Drain back on court at wing attack. And Emma McGee also returning.
Delay in play, it's a caution, up we go.
Gary Burgess cautioning Joyce Mavula there for delaying play.
Contact. Whole time. Wing defence, you've already been cautioned for persistent contact and infringing. That's now a warning.
Right, so that's a clear indication there from Lisa Douglas that that's a warning now for Grace Mwafulewa.
Yep, so no more from her. Any more bad behaviour and she will be sin-binned
Your foot was over.
for 2 minutes, so she'll have to adjust her game.
We have seen one sending off in this World Cup, haven't we, Camilla? Right on the first day. Stella Oyela from Uganda missed, well, the large part of the fourth quarter. So discipline important in netball.
Vantage causing, wing attack.
Oh, and O'Hanlon through the middle. How did she get through that gap? The work rate of that lady, fantastic. Just 2 players coming through the middle of the top of the circle to assist her shooters with another goal. Absolutely, look at that. She gets round the back of Lawazi, in front of Nkumbu. Absolute class.
Goal defense, beg your pardon.
And we've raved about Caroline O'Hanlon. She's, before this game, was sitting the highest in feeds to her shooters. So over this whole championship, she was sitting on 113 assists to her shooters. So the highest of any feeder throughout this championship. And as a centre, that's absolutely phenomenal. The ground that she can cover.
And that's a big call from Gary Burgess. Contact call against Mvula. Offensive contact.
Centre third.
Have a look. Well, interesting call.
Very interesting call there. I'm not sure I could see it. Maybe you need a magnifying glass for that, but
well, the umpires don't have the luxury of the slow-mo.
Or the VAR. Oh, nothing but net from Emma McGee.
Northern Ireland fighting back in the dying moments of the third quarter. 34-31, they've closed it up. At one point in this quarter, Northern Ireland were in trouble.
Oh, and there she is again. Look at that strength. Unfazed by Bukumbu's attempt at the fly.
Wing defence, that's an intentional obstruction with the intent to delay this advance. Pass or shot into the circle, you're both out of play.
And that was-
Mafalewa needs to be careful. She's on a warning.
Yep.
She does need to be very careful, and at this stage, where there's just the 3 up, you don't want to leave your team with 6 players on the court.
You certainly do not. It is the end of the third quarter. This is a terrific game. Malawi leading Northern Ireland 34-32.
Going into this last quarter, they got players on cautions and a warning, so really tidy this quarter.
Fourth quarter underway, 34-32. Malawi ahead of a chasing Northern Ireland. It was a terrific third quarter, 12 all between those two countries.
Obstruction, centre outside.
And Chimilero opting to go back to the line.
Advantage obstruction, wing defence.
Loazi on the outside, goes back to the line again. Northern Ireland just being teased so much with the amount of possession. It's hard to defend when you have a player, when you have a team coming at you and they're doing 10, 11, 12, 13 passes to keep possession. It's frustrating. I really want to see, Caroline O'Hanlon hits the deck again. My goodness, she's already had one of those in this competition. And she receives another one, my goodness.
Advantage obstruction centre.
Change for Malawi. Lovely shot from McGee. Change for Malawi at wing defence. The captain, Joanna Kachalika, back on court. And I think that's a smart change too, because Mafalewa was on a warning. And I think that's sensible coaching from Griffin Sayenda. As you would expect, he's been around a long time. Sayenda, very wise head. He's taken Malawi to all sorts of heights, really, in world netball. His son, Griffin Sayenda Jr., also involved.
The difference out to 3.
Advantage contact.
Oh, Armstrong looks around for help, finds Drain on the edge of the circle.
Just in time. There's fantastic footwork from the Malawian defence. Look at that, getting into that front position, but Armstrong able to find the back space. But impressive work from Mtukule and Binkumbu.
Look, we've talked about them before. For me, they are one of the best defensive pairings in world netball. Individually, well, they're still pretty good, but together, they're near lethal.
Yeah, they are, and we can see and from the footwork of both of them, but they just have this intuitive partnership, and there's something that you can work really hard to create, but some pairings just have it and better than others.
Those invisible threads, Camilla, that coaches talk about.
Absolutely, and when you can find those, you hold on to them for dear life.
Crowd starting to really get involved in this game. 37-34, Malawi still in front.
Binkumbu thought seconds about going for that fly again from the previous one. She took out O'Hanlon, opted not to go for it this time, and Emma McGee.
Well, she's come good, hasn't she?
Nice work.
Wing attack obstruction.
And again, this
Contact wing attack.
Northern Ireland defence that we've seen. Just want to see who's brave enough to go for the interception. And Lawler unable to get in front. Joyce Mavula so strong to get across the front of that.
Back they go again, Malawi. A little drop.
Obstruction, goal defence. Inside, inside.
Conwenda did well to get circle edge there. She uses those cuts so well.
Contact keeper. Yes. Obstruction. Obstruction. Wing attack.
Contact, wing defence with your leg.
Kashalika having to stand down.
My goodness,
That's a heavy fall.
Does she need
That's
time?
Emma
Does
McGee.
she need
Do you need
time?
time?
just looked to
It's
slip.
umpire's time. No, that's right. It's umpire's time for the court.
Just have a look at what happened here. She just slipped on the court, simple as that.
And captain, you know
Not near
this as well as
anybody.
I do.
And over here.
I have to get that court wiped down.
No, there's more.
That looked painful, but when you don't know it's coming, she's fine.
Well, and you're caught up in a moment like this.
Wait.
In and out, so smooth between O'Hanlon and McGee.
Contact.
Oh, and it fell for her.
Goal defence. Contact.
For all this quarter, just two the difference between these sides. As we said, not much separating them.
Wing attack obstruction.
Just have a look at the work that Lawler's doing in the back against Mavula. The footwork, she's in that front position.
Contact, goal defence.
And there's a constant battle for that space. Mavula getting the better
Obstruction.
of Lawler at that stage. There's just the push off from Lawler, but Mavula too strong, and Vinkumbu with the fly again. Just coming out of the circle nice and early, and that's what Northern Ireland need in their side, but it's lifting this Malawi side. She's done that so well, Vinkumbu. She's sitting in the top 10 in this competition of interceptions, one for her side, and that was the reason why back there. You can see this, look how early she comes out of the circle. O'Hanlon didn't see her coming. Fantastic from Vinkumbu.
And Mvula sitting on 100% in the shooting circle. 26 from 26. So a masterclass as Chimaliro lets the ball do the work. And she's played a terrific support role, Jane Chimaliro, in that goal attack position. Busy player.
And so key for a goal attack.
Possibly not as busy as Caroline O'Hanlon.
I don't think anyone's as busy as Caroline O'Hanlon. Oh, and there she is again! Vinkumbu, she must be able to hear us in commentary. What an outstanding bit of play from her.
And look, Northern Ireland, you'd have to say, must realise they can't put those balls up.
Well, I mean, if you want to learn a lesson, Dan Ryan must be pulling his hair out on the sideline. If it happens once and it happens twice, my goodness, it doesn't happen a third time. And you can see just on the bench there, we can see potentially Shauna Craig getting warmed up to come in, but they have to change something there because that's just...
And you can see there the damage that Joyce Mvula is doing. 27 from 27. You can't ask more from a shooter than that.
Contact, goal defence. Obstruction, both out. Both.
And we're talking about Vinkumbu a lot coming back, but you look at that defensive partnership around her. Kashalika and Intakuli, 190 tests between them. That's what gives Vinkumbu the confidence to come out and take those balls.
Well, it is, and that's, you know, you talk about those
with her
seamless lines between players, and that's when you've got a partnership that works. And you can see that they're not even, there's not much talk between them. They instinctively know where they're going to go. They know when one's covered and which space to take for the intercept. Sneaky hand in there.
That was a shoulder from
It's contact here.
Kashalika to O'Hanlon.
Great footwork, short pass.
McGee, another one. So important for Northern Ireland to stay in touch this halfway point of the fourth quarter. 43-37. Good final quarter so far from Malawi. Look at the swing from Mvula.
Advantage obstruction centre.
Oh, Lwazi.
Contact.
Oh, that's...
Centre. Yeah.
Well, Lwazi it was, called for the contact.
Contact, win defence.
Great strength from Michelle Drain to take the hit, composes herself, gets that ball back to the circle edge. She's had a hammering, but what composure she showed, and on feeds like that, outstanding. Long ball through to Kamwenda, to Chitumulero, back to Kamwenda. She's really taken the lead in that attacking lineup for Malawi. Obstruction given. And Chitumulero just not tiring with her playmaking. And how do you do that when you've got the strength of somebody like Joyce Mvula in the back there, but you've got a playmaker out in front that you cannot leave alone? You've got a decision to make. The partnership between Lola and McGee is so important, and for me that's why that Malawi are ahead at this stage, but there is ball to be won. There just needs to be some better communication from Northern Ireland. There needs to be someone that has some guts and goes for an interception, and here we see that change. Shauna Craig coming into that goal shooter position.
Advantage contact, wing attack.
You have to salute Nolene Armstrong. I mean, to come back in, out of retirement, answer the call for your country. You know, you feel mean criticising her, really, because she has been a wonderful servant of Northern Ireland.
Advantage obstruction, wing attack.
Under 5 minutes remaining in this game, 44-38. Northern Ireland need to get a wriggle on.
Advantage contact, centre.
Oh,
Centre contact.
there you go. What a battle it's been between Lwazi and O'Hanlon. Just shows the strength of the players in this game. Getting floored.
Can we swap the ball?
58th test today for Taekwondo Lwazi.
Look at that.
Thanks.
Playing at her second World Cup.
Who said this was a non-contact sport? Fantastic, I love it.
Yeah, I think those days are long gone.
Keep her contact.
Long gone. The contest was fantastic, and what's great is that neither are faced by it. And both those players are giving their shooters the highest amount of service at the moment. Both O'Hanlon and Lwazi doing the majority of feeding into the shooting circle.
Goal defence, you're out of play.
I think Malawi showing here that they are not happy with their world ranking of 9. They haven't been that low for some time, and some of these rankings are simply due to the fact that they haven't played ranking tests lately. Some of that comes down to lack of resources.
Obstruction, goal defence.
And pinnacle events like Commonwealth Games, World Cups, this is when they get their chance to show just how good they are.
First shot on the board for Shauna Craig,
Vanny's breaking goal attack.
who's taken some time out the last few seasons. Was an England international. Had her time in the UK at Team Bath and spent some time in New Zealand for the last couple of years travelling, has just come back into the game.
Vanny's offside.
Has beautiful court craft
Advantage obstruction,
and
wing
has just come back into this team for the World Cup, and good to see her back on court.
Qualifies for Northern Ireland through her mother, I understand.
Yeah, she's got very strong Irish roots, often spends holidays there, and it's a place that's really close to her heart. Great work from Craig there.
Contact goalkeeper.
Unable to slot that away, but
Side
the
post,
work
that's
to
it.
receive that ball underneath the post was created by McGee, running the front.
Vanny's contact.
I know. Another miss from Northern Ireland.
Wing defence obstruction.
And this is what's cost Northern Ireland dearly, isn't it? Those crunch moments have gone begging just a little bit too often.
Vantage contact centre.
Whereas Malawi, Jane Chimalero, going about her business.
Wing defence, free pass.
14
That's
from
it.
16, tremendous support role
Wing
she's played
defence
to
with your leg,
Mvula.
contact. Whole time. You are delaying play. It's a caution, wing defence. Bring it forward. That's it.
Final 2 minutes of this game, 47-39. Malawi now at 47-40.
Sheldrain getting taken out again. Kumbo wanting to increase her interception stats, I think. Just unable to on that occasion.
Vanny's breaking wing attack, goal attack.
Wing defence contact. With the wing defence.
Northern Ireland, they'll be disappointed with this outcome. This will be 3 wins in a row for Malawi against Northern Ireland. Not able to pick up that ball. Northern Ireland come again, but it's all going to be too late.
Whole time. Wing defence, I've just cautioned you for delaying play. That's now a warning on intentional obstruction. It's here.
So this time,
That's it.
Joanne Kashalika.
So Gary Burgess just warning Kuchalaki and advancing the ball to a penalty pass or shot for intentional obstruction, which you know you can
And
do.
it's offside, causing. And it's offside, wing defence. Contact, goal defence. Now it's where you are, it's where you
So
are.
it's the Malawi wing defences who have been in trouble. Grace
Contact
Matulewa,
goalkeeper.
she left the court after she too received a warning.
Whole time.
Left the court voluntarily, I should add. She wasn't sent from the court. 47-43, seconds remaining on the clock. Takonda Lawazi. It's Malawi going again.
Vantage obstruction, wing attack.
Tona with the dab.
Vantage obstruction. Contact, wing defence, advantage offside. Obstruction keeper. Take him. Take him.
That is the end of this game.
It was taken.
The umpire has ruled that the penalty was taken. So that's it between Malawi and Northern Ireland. Gee, what a wrangle it was. In the end, though, Malawi too strong. And you can see O'Hanlon and Mvula very familiar with each other from the Super League. 47-43. Malawi too strong for Northern Ireland on this occasion.
An important win there. A close game, though, wasn't it?
It was a tough game, but we tried our best to win this game. It wasn't an easy game, but we thank God that we have won.
It was really important, such fine margins. That first quarter was really crucial, wasn't it? How did you shut down the Northern Irish side, and how did you get that win?
We tried our best that we should play our ball and we should play our system. So it wasn't an easy game, but when it comes to second quarter, then we do what the coach told us to do.
A really important win, a tough group that Malawi are in now. How important is it for you to climb the world rankings here at this World Cup?
Yeah, we know that it will not be an easy games, but we'll try our best so that we can break into top 6 or even above into top 4. So we'll try our level best to do whatever we can so that we can win the rest of the games.
Thanks very much. Well played today.
Thank you.
Well, Dan, that's 2 really close games in a row now. Frustrated, perhaps, by your team a little bit?
Oh, look, I think the most important thing about today is I'm actually really proud of the group and the way we played today. I think it showed a real sense of character about the team, and obviously yesterday was gutting for all of us in many different ways, and at the end of the day it's how you show up and stand up, and I thought the girls did an incredible job today. We were right in the contest with a really top quality side, playing some beautiful netball, and their execution again of the game plan was bang on. And just a couple of things here and there that we probably needed to tweak at certain times. But at the end of the day, it was about the response for us, and I thought they responded beautifully from what happened 24 hours ago.
Looking down the breakdown of those quarters, it was only the first one that you actually lost. How can you convert that and start winning consistently through 4 quarters?
Yeah, I think probably we probably knew that we were going to have a slow start. I felt that was probably going to be the way we were going to go based on yesterday's, I guess, emotional drain that it took on the group. So my aim was just for us to be in and around the mark at quarter time, and I thought if we did do that, we'd be right in the contest. And as it proved that way. So, we started pretty well today, but we gradually built into it. And I saw some great confidence and some great connection between the players on the court, and it's something we spoke about last night, and I love seeing them do that. They're learning all the time, and as much as we're disappointed about losing, I think we need to keep it in perspective, and we made some big improvements from yesterday, so I'm really pleased with that.
New Zealand next, not an easy game, going to be a really difficult one. How are you going to approach it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because we've got 2 games left in our pools before, I guess, playoff matches, and obviously we identified Barbados as a must-win and potentially a game that we should take based on form and rankings, I guess. New Zealand probably out of our league and out of touch, but again, it's about a learning opportunity for these players. They don't get the exposure to play under the ruthless intensity of these top nations. So again, we take it for what it is, we keep it in perspective, and we really make sure that we prioritise what's most important. We obviously need to manage some loads of players who have been on court for full games in a number of matches, so that's important. But there's many things that we can take from a New Zealand opportunity, and I hope the players thrive on that chance.
Good luck tomorrow. Thanks very much.
Thank you.